Hello, golf fans. Dave here. Going to the range today, just up here at Encinitas Ranch, doing one of my favorite things, which is practicing. I don't get a chance to play a whole lot, about once a month. And I learned a long time ago that if I'm really going to improve, and kind of started a couple of years ago after an injury as a 10, got it down to 8 now. 6 is the goal. If you're going to get that way when you can only play about once a month, your practice has to be super intentional, and you've got to come to the golf course and the range with a plan every day. And today the plan is to do the combine using my favorite little tool here, the Rapsodo MLM2Pro. So let's go hit some balls, and I'll walk you through what the combine is all about. It's one of my favorite ways to make practice not only fun, but also very intentional. All right, so first things first, let's go through setup. We're going to start a new combine here. You can use the recommended distances, and sometimes they do that. You just need to make sure you're telling it what clubs you're hitting. So here I had to plug in sand wedge. I'd probably hit pitching wedge from 119. I like to do custom distances. This would be like a real comfortable combine, 90 yards with a sand wedge, and then like 153 with a 7-iron, pretty stock distances. I also like to set them up with distances that I'm not super comfortable with. Go through, tell it where you're at. I'm just at home going through setup here, so we'll just do that. Check your alignment, and you have a warm-up opportunity. By the time I get here, I'm usually ready to go. So I hit a bunch of balls, kind of get rid of all the junky ones, and then go ahead and start. And once you start the combine, here we go. Sand wedge, 90 yards, time to play. All right, so once you're done setting up and you've done your combine, this is the performance report you get. It generates the report for you. It gives you a lot of really cool data. And so kind of what you'll see here is 66.8 is the score. That's a 5.5 handicap. I'm an 8. So I'm pretty happy with this, but I'll show you kind of things where I'm not so stoked about it after coming back and looking at the data. So we're looking at the overall score here. Now we'll get into target number 1. So 90 yards, 6.5 handicap. I really only stuffed 2 of these to 7 feet. So from 90 yards, I'm expecting a little bit more here, but they're all on the green. So not horrible. That's okay. It's workable. I'm a pretty good putter. Let's look at number 2. 9.5 handicap here, and this is where things kind of fell apart. You can see I got a few of them that went way deep. I mean, it hit 15 yards over the green. And when you look at this dispersion, that's a 7-iron for me. I mean, this is just awful. So, you know, that gives me something to work on. Here's the driver, 3 handicap. Pretty good dispersion here. I don't hit it a long way. I'm really happy with that. I just want to put it in the fairway, keep it in the fat part of the fairway and in the short grass, and I am happy with that. And then here's kind of overall, and there's a lot of different data that you can take from this and extrapolate, which I think is pretty helpful. All right, let's take a look at the second combine. We'll generate the report, and what you'll see here is I really need to work on short clubs, which is kind of weird for me, I think, but according to the data, that's what's going on. So let's look at overall score here. 67.7, a little bit better, 4.9 handicap. This time I'm working from 120 and 170, so changing the yardages up, using custom yardages. Overall score is pretty good. Look at the pitching wedge, though. 9.3 handicap with a 60. Look at this dispersion. It's just horrible. This is kind of where I would normally think about maybe knocking down a 9-iron. And guess what? That's exactly what I should be doing. And that's one of the things I love about this data is you can get some feedback that tells you what to do. Let's go to 170, 1.9 handicap. Really happy with this. Pretty good distance control. Couple little flares there, but for the most part, a 6-iron for me is a real comfortable club, and I'm hitting it well. And that's just more confirmation for me, which makes me feel pretty good about my sort of longer game. Driver, 4.2. You can see the dispersion. There was a fair amount of wind, so it's actually pushing the ball to the middle of the fairway. The launch monitor is just picking up, you know, where it sees the ball going because it doesn't really watch it land. Overall, pretty good. You know, no complaints about this, except for when we look at this aerial view and you start to get into these dispersions and you're looking at, I mean, that's the 6-iron, not bad. Or I'm sorry, that's the pitching wedge. It's horrible. Just horrible. I'm just spraying the ball all over the place. So, you know, again, the on-course feedback for me is go ahead and knock down the 9-iron from that distance. You're going to be a lot better off. All right, got a little too windy on the golf course to do the wrap-up video out there, and I think actually it's better to kind of come back, look at the data, and understand what I can from going through that. And this is what I absolutely love about the combines and the MLM2 Pro. You know, before I got that, I would always try to simulate on-course situations, switching clubs a lot. A lot of times I play 3, 4, sometimes 9 holes, especially if I got a tournament, you know, just replicating that, hit a driver, hit from, you know, wherever I would normally, whatever iron I would normally hit from a good drive or maybe even a poor drive. If it's a par 3 that's coming up, I kind of know those yardages. And I think that's good. I think that's a great way to practice. The problem is there's no data, there's no feedback beyond that was good and that wasn't, which doesn't really give you anything to work on. The combine, where you're switching golf clubs, you're changing yardages, allows you to simulate on-course situations and then give yourself that data so you can make better decisions. A really good example is that 120 yardage. I said in the video earlier, that's where I'd be thinking about trying to maybe knock down a 9-iron. That's what I'll do the next time I go to the range. I'll set up a combine, and 120 will be one of those yardages. And I'm going to test the knockdown 9-iron versus the full pitching wedge, because it's a little bit of a tweener yardage for me, but it's also one that I'm at pretty commonly. And if I'm going to shoot better scores and get down to that 6 handicap, I've got to do better from 120. There's just no way. That's what I really love about it, is you have that data, you have that feedback from some actual on-course situations. That's just going to allow me to make way better decisions when I'm out playing golf. So we'll see how the next combine goes and whether that knockdown 9-iron is the way to go, or maybe I was just hitting the pitching wedge poorly. Kind of have to, again, figure that one out. But gives me the data that I need to at least try and make those decisions better when I'm actually playing golf. So that's the combine with the Rapsodo MLM2 Pro. If you have questions, comments, whatever, please post them below and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Beyond that, I guess I need to go practice more.